Hello, beautiful earth angels. Welcome back to Daily Dose of Love. We're going to be divinating you a poem from this Growing Brave poetry book by Donna Ashworth and seeing what synchronistic channeled message wants to be finding you right now, showering you with your reflection of your own higher unconditional love, intuition, and higher self guidance. So let's flick through the pages. We have all the Mondays coming out. So this poem says, what if we counted all the Mondays lost, all the Mondays given over without a fight to guilt, anxiety, and not being enough? What if we saw all of those days as sandy pile in front of our eyes, watching as all our allocated grains shower to the bottom of our hourglass at speed, and we realized too late that we threw away such time to this false belief that a week is not our own to shape and live through. Somewhere along the way, we forget that Monday is 24 hours of opportunity to do more living. Somewhere along the way, we handed those days over as a ticket to a life we did not want to go to. Somewhere along the way, we agreed to throw a whole day every week into a wasteland of worry and fear. I wonder how many Mondays we each have left. I intend to use mine wisely. What about you? That's a really interesting poem. So it's kind of like the days that we kind of dread, or like say Monday has this connotation to it, like, oh, Monday, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, or oh, weekday, or oh, job, or oh, 9 to 5. You know what it says? Like we kind of build this kind of wasteland or worry and fear over days. Oh, wait. We handed those days over as a ticket to a life we did not want to go to. I'm sensing someone reclaiming back their power over the co-creation of their own reality, knowing that we can manifest and create our lives to be anything we want it to be, as long as we believe it can, and as long as we believe in ourselves to be able to do that. I'm tuning into someone who has either moved out of this energy or is currently in the lingering of this energy to shift out of it. And it doesn't have to be about your work, but it could be for some of you. This could be that you are realizing you don't maybe like some of the way that society is built, like work in the week, or maybe, Mondays, or just this mundane type of energy of what's been built up, what's expected to be in this system that we've incarnated in. But for you guys, maybe it's like you want to live deeply. You don't want to feel like you're wasting time doing things that don't really light your heart up, that aren't really your choice but a necessity. This is a confirmation for anyone who is losing hope sometimes, because you are going to manifest your dream life. The things we do that feel like necessity, that we have to do for money or this or that, you're going to find a way to shift out of those. There's something about an awakening, a realization. You guys have already been through an awakening, maybe, and the awakening was deciding you don't resonate with this. You don't resonate maybe with the 9 to 5. You don't resonate with what was expected of you to be traveled down and moved into. You actually want a life that's free. You want a life that's adventureful, or that is soothing or appropriate for how your soul is desiring, especially in your cyclical nature. You don't want to dread Mondays. You want to be excited for Mondays, and you're creating that reality for yourself. So even if you find yourself in a position now where it's like, maybe at points you're thinking, am I going to be able to move out of this? Is there going to be a reality that I'm living in one day that maybe I feel like I'm not like doing things or obligations out of necessity and responsibility that I don't really want to be doing? You're completely shifting out of that reality, or you already have. If you find this reading, it's because you've escaped the matrix. You've either escaped the matrix or you're thinking yourself out of it now. Remember guys, we create our reality with our minds, and the realizations we have when we're like, actually, I don't want to waste my Mondays. Actually, I don't want to wish away my week just for the weekend. I don't want to live through things that I don't have to. If I've just realized that I can create my reality, that everything here is based on our belief systems, that we're kind of actually creating a whole reality based on our belief systems, that anything's possible, that we've all been taught wrong, that we don't need to fit the cookie cutter, we don't need to do the things that are expected of us. We can do and create our lives to be anything in which we want it to be. And sometimes there is like this energy of lower ego conditioning, of realism, or like I say, things that are necessities. But I want you to know, if you're seeing this reading, it's because you're about to actually shift out of a really interesting lower timeline paradigm, or you have shifted out of that. If you have, no matter where you're resonating with along this timeline is non-linear, and you're going to find yourself on this path. So either you left a workplace in the past, or you became self-employed, or you changed your lifestyle around so it's a bit different, because now you don't maybe dread Mondays, or you don't have responsibilities that aren't lifting up your soul in particular ways. Like, you kind of made hard choices to shape your life that actually honors your soul. And if you don't feel that way, it's that if the other timeline of people on here are the timeline of people who are still doing some things that maybe don't resonate with them, but they're literally moving into a chapter right now that's shifting out of that, and you're thinking yourself out of that. Because like I say, having these realizations when we decide certain things, we actually are thinking new timelines into activation. Our soul is manifesting things here beyond the physical. It's opening timeline paths with our mind. And so no matter if you find this reading, if you feel like where you're at on this journey in this lifetime, I promise you guys, you're going to have a bit of a different lifestyle. No matter if you feel like even if you're in a 9-to-5 now, you could be enjoying that now. It doesn't matter where you are on this timeline, you're going to go through this realization where you actually shift into a higher paradigm that's outside of the conditionings or the matrix or what's been programmed in society so far. You may shift into a self-employed job style or lifestyle. You may go traveling. Yeah, it's kind of like if you're still in a place where you feel like you're shifting out of, like all of you watching, you're breaking out the matrix this life basically, which means you're kind of depicting or manifesting your life to be in such a way that actually really resonates with you on a deeper soul level. So this frequency of those of you finding this reading is very specific. And again, like I say, like this reading isn't for someone who is, really, I don't know. This reading is literally for someone who has either broken out of the matrix in a way of finding out it doesn't resonate with them and then thinking yourself into a very abstract reality, or someone's just moving out of the matrix now in a way that you are deciding maybe a job or a place after a while isn't really what you want, or you want to take a new direction that is of a higher calling, a bit more free or a bit less restrictive, filled with deeper meaning and purpose and passion. I feel like you guys, maybe no matter what point you're at, maybe you got fed up of waiting and living for maybe the weekend, or doing something that didn't really resonate with you or light your soul up. Maybe you didn't resonate with like a company you worked for, or you wanted to build something of your own. This really is an awakening energy though, like I say. And this reading isn't as well to shame anyone or to make anyone feel like, oh, if you are like in a 9-to-5 job and you enjoy that, then that's where you're meant to be. Remember, wherever we're meant to be is where we're happy. Doesn't matter what it looks like on the surface. Doesn't matter what it appears to be to anybody else. As long as we're happy, that's all that matters. But as soon as we start becoming unhappy, that is kind of a sign for us to ask questions of why, and to maybe align ourselves with our own personal new paths and energies. But this is also your confirmation though, because some of you, especially those in the timeline path where some of you maybe shifted out of this place like a year ago, and maybe like your business is now fully establishing, or you're really maybe you've traveled a lot now, or like your life's very different now. But for some of you, you're just moving into this energy now, and maybe you can't see some of the shifts that are going to happen to make that happen. Maybe you can't see what you're going to pursue next, or how you'll leave a space, especially if you are there out of necessity, like for money, or because sometimes like we say, the practicalities of the 3D is what we're being told to have confirmation of that don't necessarily matter in the grand scheme. You're going to see solutions come and find you, new pathways, new stepping stones, new opportunities that you simply cannot see or perceive yet. So this is your confirmation that you're someone who's going to love Mondays in your life. You're someone who's going to create that for themselves. You're going to think that into existence. You're going to manifest yourself into timeline paths that are very abstract, very out of the ordinary to what's been placed into conditioning. It might be a job that's outside of the 9 to 5. Maybe that's a bit different. Maybe it's something that lights your soul up, regardless of what that is. Even if it is with like a corporation or a company, you know, I just feel like you guys, you're shifting into something that you really enjoy. Maybe it has more abstract hours of work that suit you better. Maybe some of you are shifting from like day shifts to night shifts. Maybe some of you are shifting out of work completely. And even if we can't see like how this is sustainable, it literally is. Like, you guys are going to be in a reality where it's like 3D logic. How is this sustainable? How is this possible? But you made it possible, and it's because life is a lot more magical than we can first ever really imagine or perceive. Like I say, you're someone who's on a higher timeline path, and you're someone who has been through these waves of realization and awakening to what you do want for your life. And so, like I say, don't fall into the trap if right now you're feeling dissonance with the job or location or a placement or environment. You know, I want you to know that if you feel that dissonance, it's because you're about to experience assistance in that area. You are being assisted and aligned, and you are being assisted when it comes to the events, opportunities, and things happening around you. And so if you're having this realization, know that it's not just on you and you alone. You are being kind of in this orchestration of to shift you out and into different types of energies and timeline. But like I said at the beginning, you're the type of soul where it's like life is really precious to you. Maybe in your awakening was like you really value your own time, energy. Maybe you need a deeper sense of purpose in life in order to feel fulfilled. A deeper sense of purpose when it comes to what makes you happy. And you're kind of creating your life to be that way. You're creating your life to be abundant and fulfilling for you personally, no matter what it looks like on the outside to others. And yeah, so taking these leaps of faith, breaking out of the matrix, all of you finding this reading, it's because you've broken out of the matrix. You've broken/breaking out of the matrix, and this is not something to be doubted. You will have a very alternate lifestyle this life, and it's going to be much more emotionally fulfilling for you. So again, like I say, this isn't confirmation of like just you'll make this happen. This is something fated for your path, and these emotional realizations are just you aligning with your higher timelines. So I love you guys so much, and I will see and speak to you all in the next reading, beautiful souls. Mwah.